Please raise your right hand.
College student Juwan Wallace is suing his former landlord for personal property. Defendant Howard Chappell says the plaintiff left his belongings when he moved.
Mr. Wallace is suing Mr. Chappell, and you're alleging that Mr. Chappell is liable to you for either conversion or destruction or improper disposition of your personal property. And you characterize Mr. Chappell as your landlord.
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Chappell, you defend and you note that you were not Mr. Wallace's landlord. He was living with your daughter in a home owned by you.
Correct, sir.
And when your daughter moved out and you had some problems with her dealing with drugs and rehabilitation and detoxification that apparently had been long-standing, you approached the plaintiff and inquired of him, since he was left in something of a lurch, as to whether or not he wanted to become a tenant.
I did.
You have your girlfriend here as a witness, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, the other person, Kim,
Yes, sir.
now that was a friend of yours.
Yeah, the original house was with Kim and her husband. They got into it. She offered another roommate, and Kristen, but Kristen already planned on moving out. So we had discussed this about February, about me moving in, but she had to confirm it with her dad first because she has children, and, you know, there's certain people you got to check, make sure that they're okay to come in. And I was approved by her dad to stay there. So I would give money. It was $235 in the beginning because it was the three of us, me, Kristen, and
All right,
Kim.
so technically you would become a lessee, subletting from the daughter of the defendant and his son-in-law. The son-in-law vacates, leaving a grandchild of the defendant there with his daughter.
Yes, sir. I used to take care of the grandchild. I used to help him, take him to the daycare, the speech classes.
Okay.
I also got Kimberly a job.
You are a college student, and you also pay the way by being a waiter, right?
Yes, sir. I do what I can, but as in the beginning, I would pay the rent and everything. Me and Lynn have spoken, seen each other a couple of times. Lynn has seen me before. We've discussed money. Kim has discussed him with sometimes when we're late. He knew that I was living there. He knew what room I was staying in.
You had no problems, essentially.
It might have started off with that problem, but me and Lynn were talking. I've actually got a testimony from my general manager at my job.
Who is Lynn?
Well, that's what I was known him as, Lynn.
My name is Howard.
Howard Lynn Chappell. All right.
Kim known him as Lynn, so that's why I would call him.
Well, you two know each other then.
Yeah.
Right.
So as we're talking about, I can't stay there. He gave me a week to decide if I can stay there or not. If I wanted to just bring him
and
take over. After that, I gave it in within 4 days that I said I couldn't. But give me some time. I can have my stuff out.
To go look for another place.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A week later, I left for a family get-together, a little family reunion.
All right. How long did you deal with the family get-together before you returned?
It was a weekend. I left for a weekend. I left Friday and returned Sunday. I came back and looked for my stuff that Monday,
all right,
and
so
it was gone.
We have a discussion that goes on between you and the defendant, and you, Mr. Wallace, advise him you can't pay the rent. You need time to look for something else.
Well, I said as I'm in there.
Yes, all right. So a week goes by, you attend a family gathering, and that occupies the weekend.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's 10 days. So what is he supposed to do about you're not there after 10 days, and there's been no advisement given to him about where you are, what's going on, and precisely when are you going to move this?
We have numbers. We've contacted a lot. He has my number. He's always had my number before this.
But see, here's the point. You're the one that's telling him, look, I can't afford the whole rent. That means
he told me he never told me.
Today I am getting on the phone, calling, looking at the want ads, calling the people I know. Hey,
Sir,
about
he never told me that was 10 days that he would have contractors come in and take things out of the house. What he told me is that in 10 days, on that weekend, he would come in and look at appliances and look at Kim's room and see what kind of things that he needed to take out. He never told me anything about, like, this is the final day, you have to have your things out. We never discussed that. There was never an eviction. There was never anything given to me that would say, this is how long you have. When we discussed this, it was like...
Look. The problem developed in July of the current year when she allegedly overdosed on drugs and was ultimately sent to a detox rehabilitation program.
Sir, when we were living there before, Kim had this whole ordeal with the heroin. As our agreement was for me to give her my share of the money, I gave her my share.
When you move in with a heroin junkie, don't you think you take some kind of assumption of a risk into consideration? This is a junkie.
That's not how I known her to be.
You know, the junkie, excuse me, sir, I hate your daughter's in that situation. A heroin addict is not trying to get high. They're getting a dose to keep from getting sick and die, so they have to go out and continuously jack other folk up to deal with what they have, because there's no other way they can support it. So you moved in with a heroin addict.
I did not know she was a heroin addict.
Well,
that's not
my God, he's got problems too. You do too.
Something about somebody else's friend, you don't believe what they say. You go for the original, what you know of the person to be. You don't go for rumors. That's how things get spread. That's how things are in tabloids.
That's true.
That's how they get started. So I stood up for her.
You need to check stuff out.
We'll be back with more Judge Joe Brown in a moment.
I can't put a bed in a car.
Well, that's your damn problem, not his.
All right, you're right. You're right. It's not his problem.
Closed captioning sponsored by